So hello everyone and welcome to another episode of mini series called Be One of the Voices. And today we have got client success spotlight on Fabi Belgardt. So welcome Fabi and thank you so much for joining me.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Thank you for taking time to talk about your experience of going through 160-hour trauma-informed somatic teacher and coach for women training certification. And you were one of the female practitioners who joined as the beta cohort last year. So well done for taking the, being brave enough and taking the chance on the training. And I wonder if we could start with you just reflecting and sharing with us. Why did you sign up for that training? What was it about that training that really drew you in?
Yes, so previously I've already done trainings with you around trauma and your throat training, and obviously my own background in social work. That was always something I was really drawn to. And then at the time I wanted to do more work around burnout and working more with women. I was already working with women more from that kind of yoga perspective at the time. And I wanted to, and I always knew I wanted to go more in the coaching direction, but I never quite found a training that really appealed to me. And then I read about your training. It's like, oh, this is perfect. This is bring everything again together for me. So it's that trauma aspect, the nervous system aspect, and then working with women. And it just seemed really different than any other coaching training that was there. Because usually it kind of just focuses on maybe coaching techniques, but it doesn't quite have that kind of background around trauma understanding and nervous system understanding that I really wanted to bring into that work as well. And then especially where I was interested in working more around burnout and working more with women in any capacity, really, that really seemed like it's the right way to go for me, especially that kind of somatic aspect of it. So it's not just another, mind level approach, but actually goes a little bit deeper, and that really appeals to me.
Okay, lovely. So what was your what was your experience of the training? I mean, because that's one of the questions that I get asked a lot. It's a long training, it's 9 modules. Most modules have got 3 labs. We have got embodied wisdom circles. So there is a lot of time that we spend together. And it is quite a commitment. So what was your experience of going through that training?
Yeah, I think initially I was worried a little bit as well about committing for such a big training. I mean, I've been out of kind of school education for a while at that point, and I always really enjoyed that, but it's been a while to really commit to it. And I think my last training that was that long was my yoga teacher training. And on reflection, I was like, well, actually, that's the kind of same sort of commitment. So I think at the beginning I was slightly thinking, I was like, oh, can I do this? But actually, really looking back now on the whole process, it went so quickly, like the time together. I couldn't believe when we, went to our 9th module. I was like, we're already done all of this, and we've done so much in that time. But it hasn't. There was so much content and things to learn and to process. But it equally went really quickly and was very digestible because it was so nicely separated in modules and labs. So it wasn't like all content at once. But it was really, I really liked the variety of things, of having some practice practices, as well as, content that we're learning, and then time to integrate. And I really liked that there was always time after each module to integrate, to let things settle a little bit. So it didn't feel as intense as constantly learning, but there was time to let things settle. So overall, it went actually really quickly. And what I really like now is that that we still have time afterwards to really let everything settle and go through the coursework. So it didn't feel like I have to do everything straight away, which would have been my usual approach, but actually to allow myself more time to really process everything and to go back over things. We have all the recordings. So it doesn't feel like, oh, I'm missing everything if I can't attend a session. So overall, it, definitely it's a lot, of course there's a lot of new things to learn, and that will take some energy, but it didn't feel as overwhelming as I might have been worried at the beginning.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear.
Yeah, especially with, with the, as I said, like having time afterwards to process it. We didn't have to hand in everything a week afterwards, but it's just time to go through everything again. That really takes off a bit of pressure. And yeah, as I said, it actually went really quickly.
Yeah. So you said, there is a lot of material, and there is a lot of material in a sense that, it is quite a comprehensive training. But I wonder, what parts of the stuff that we covered that really resonated with you?
Yeah, there's a lot to choose from. But definitely, again, going a bit deeper again on that kind of trauma aspect and understanding it deeper in the nervous system. But also more, well, really loved learning more with all of it for myself, and then to work with clients is more the aspects of women, and for, the cycles we go through as women throughout our lives, but our, the seasons, but also our our personal, what we go through, but also like women in society, and, everything that we face. I think that was something that I think with all of us kind of triggered a lot of passion as well, because it just resonates so much with all of us. So I really love that, learning more about it, because sure, there's things that we know, but I think going deeper into it really made a difference. And there's so many great approaches to work with that, kind of understanding the seasons of life and the seasons of women. That's been really, really great to learn more about. But also later on towards the end of the course, what I really liked is kind of the integration part. How can we really integrate all these things in our own business and our own work, but also kind of the leadership aspect, which I really enjoyed, because it's something that seems so daunting, but can make such a difference if we find our own path of doing it. So yeah, but so much more in there. But these are definitely some things.
Tell me a little bit more about it, because it's really fascinating. It's working with different groups, and obviously different practitioners respond to it differently. But it seems like it's a kind of a big thing for many women, many of us, to actually embrace that leadership role, and to especially in the way that you just said, to find your own way. And it's something that, if I think about you particularly, and the journey that you've been on since the beginning of the training, and where you are right now in your business, and where you were when we were starting the training a year ago, maybe you could share some thoughts and some insights from that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with leadership, I think what I thought about it is, you got to be this super expert in something, and then it feels very corporate. You got to step up and be that massive leader. But actually, what I realized and what resonated so much more from the training was that part of leading by being, and by actually following your own path, you are being a leader. And that's kind of a perspective shift was really helpful. And then, yes, as you said, through the training, I think because there's so much self-reflection and so much work on yourself, so much shifted in my own work, where I allowed myself to kind of let go of what I thought I should be doing, which was very much the kind of well-being path. I think I created myself that path of what I should be doing. And once I allowed myself to kind of let that go, I mean, now I work in a very different way, but still with more in that kind of virtual assistant and tech and system support, but still for women, and still, that support around nervous system and understanding all these things are still so helpful for this work. But yeah, once I've allowed myself to kind of let go of what I should be doing and just follow my own path, as you were saying, everything got so much easier as well.
Yeah.
That's the thing, isn't it? So often we try to force something that we think we should be creating or should be doing, but then actually, if we follow our own inner guidance and path, and let go of everything that we should be doing, then new doors open, and things also feel much easier and much more aligned. And with that, I've found that just so many more doors open, and everything just feels just a little bit easier when we just follow our own path.
Yeah.
And doing the training along, I think, I don't know if I would have gone down that same path if I hadn't done the training. I think that was a huge part of that transformation during that year. Especially like all those learnings and reflections that we're doing throughout the course, definitely led me towards that. I think.
Yeah, it's fascinating because I know that the conversations that we had, having the courage to allow yourself to do what feels easy. It's a big thing, isn't it? It's like it's easy, and some of the stuff around, can I be paid for that? And could it be easier? Could I do it not in a way that is prescribed or expected, but can I take the same wisdom and the same approach into doing something different?
Yeah.
And actually, I think it's really amazing watching you getting booked up and, creating a business that feels really aligned and having more of that flexibility of not having to do it in a prescribed way.
Absolutely. And a lot of that, I think, was as well to like understanding my own seasons, everything that we learned in the course, really. So understanding my own seasons, but also like our own beliefs as women in society and in business, and everything that kind of holds you back. But also, acknowledging where I am within my season, and maybe my vision for what I have, maybe that's later on. And right now, this is part of my, where I'm at right now, and understanding all these different parts really helped to follow that path and, let go of some of those beliefs and mindsets around it as well.
Yeah, and really, it's what I saw you do is really trusting yourself and just, trusting your inner guidance much more than anything else.
Yeah.
And it's just like doing something different and doing something different from the rest of from other female practitioners from your cohort. Each one of you decided to do it in a different way, to have a different business model, to work in slightly different context, all working with female practitioners, but each one in a slightly different way.
Yeah. And I think definitely quite daunting doing something slightly different, but it's following your own strengths, isn't it, as well? Yeah.
So if I could ask you, if there was something that people or female practitioners who are kind of sitting on the fence thinking, shall I do it? Shall I not do it? Would I do it? Shall I sign up? Is it the right time? Is there anything that you would say to them?
I mean, if you're looking definitely for something, going down that path of more coaching and somatic approaches, I would definitely go for it. I mean, there's probably never a right time, but then equally, I feel like your inner guidance will tell you if it's right or not. I'm glad I did it, even though maybe, I was in the middle of moving and my life was a little bit chaotic as well. I was doing it, but I was still glad that I did it because it actually helped me through those phases as well. Yes, I would definitely recommend it. I mean, the whole course and your support as always, and that's why I've always been drawn to your courses and other support. It has been great again, and I think it's that aspect of really being allowed to arrive as you are, what makes it so different as well. Especially as a people pleaser. It was very refreshing for me to know, to actually really follow what I needed throughout the course. Because yes, there's a lot of content, there's a lot of things that is very emotional as well, and a lot of reflection, but you always encouraged us to really look after ourselves. And I always really appreciate that when I do any courses or any support with you. So yes, I would definitely recommend it to anyone, especially if you want to work more with women and deepen that work and understanding. Because even though we know some things, I think it's that depth that comes with doing a more intensive course and as well, the support of all the other practitioners is such a lovely community. And, even though that's not something that maybe comes naturally to me, that, over time, you really appreciate having that space. And it felt, we were all saying in the end, it felt so weird not having those Saturday mornings where we meet. You get really used to having that space and having space to be heard, and, all those sharing circles that we had as well. It's kind of that whole package of everything, the whole support and group support and the whole practices that come along with it. There's so much you can learn and so much to integrate into your own work and practice for yourself and your clients. I think that makes a difference. It's really about your own transitioning first and then bringing it to clients. But there's definitely so much you can take out of this course.
Yeah, I love that. I love what you just said, because really, ultimately, it's about walking your talk, isn't it? Rather than being part of the society, fake it till you make it, or pretend it, or kind of put a front on and disconnect from what is really going on for you. Coming from that wholehearted, present space of being here and connecting with others is so important. And that doesn't really change because of the work that you do. You could be doing, if you are working with other people, understanding trauma and being much more present is only beneficial for you and your client.
Absolutely, yeah. So even that change kind of the way I'm working now, all those things are still so helpful, because I think understanding people and understanding, the nervous system makes such a difference in any kind of work we do with other people, and allows us to be much more gentle with ourselves and with others. I think definitely beneficial in any way.
I would go even as far as to say that people that you're working with are actually drawn to you because you understand the language, because you've done that kind of training, because they know that you understand how they work.
Absolutely, because I think you start approaching any kind of work differently. Then it's not that fast-paced push, push, push approach, which so many of us are so tired of. But I think, especially once you've gone through that training, you start approaching things very differently.
I love that. So if people were really drawn to you and your kind of work, and wanted some support, wanted to connect, where can they find you, Fabi?
Yes, so through social media, Fabi Belgardt, virtual assistant and system expert, but also on my website, Fabi Belgardt. So yeah, any kind of support around virtual assistant, around your own business and tech support, all these kind of stressful things in our own business, and coaching around systems and, that kind of sustainable piece of your business, nervous system friendly. Find all information on there. Yes, be lovely to connect.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Fabi, for taking time to speak with me today.
Thank you for having me.